Hi, my name is Louise. Welcome to the Nanny. Well, this is where we partner with parents in raising godly children and children with good morals. Well, it is said it takes a community to raise a child. Now, one of the people in the community that is really important in raising a child or children is a nanny. So I, for one, God gave me opportunities to be a nanny, and I've also worked with children in different spheres. The educational sphere, I have done homeschooling. I have worked in church, children's church for so many years. Business, what I'm doing right now is in relation to children. So I wanted to partner with parents. So I am here to partner with parents in raising children. So we are going to have different seasons, but for the first season, we're going to talk about um, from when you get the thoughts of getting a nanny up to when she should leave. Yeah. So today I want to talk about how long should you have a nanny? For how long? Now this is something that you need to decide before you even give birth. Or even before you get pregnant, you should have it in your mind that I want to have a nanny for this long. Now, it depends on a family. Every family has different needs, you know. Some family have so many children in that they need a nanny for a very long time. If you have 5 kids, you know, you may need a nanny until the last born maybe is like, I don't know what, 7 years or 8 or something like that, you know. Others have maybe few children, say 2 children. You may not need a nanny for a very long time. Yeah. And then it also depends on the ages. For example, if you have young children, of course you would need a nanny for some time. But if your kids are old, let me say maybe 7, 8, you know, and above, you don't need a nanny for that long. Yeah. Then it also depends on someone's financial status, you know. There are people who have very good jobs and maybe they've signed a contract for a number of years, maybe many years, 10 years or something, and they can afford a nanny for a long time. Then there are those whose income status is really low. They cannot afford a nanny for so long. You understand? So they decide to have a nanny for a very short period of time. Yeah. And then it also depends on a parent's work schedule. Some parents work for longer hours and they come back home late in the night, maybe 9, 10, when the kids are already asleep. You know, either they need someone to be there to give their children personal attention and care. Then there are those who maybe don't work for a very long time, in that the nanny can maybe be a stepping nanny, maybe comes half day, or maybe only over the weekend, or maybe only during the week. So it really depends on you. But I, for one, I am someone who advocates for independence. I really advocate for having nannies for a shorter time. For example, if you're planning to have a nanny for, say, maybe 12 years or 15 years, you can work your way in teaching the children how to be independent, such that the nannying years of 15 can go down maybe to like 7 years. You understand? But how can you do this? You have to teach your kids to work. You have to teach them how to be independent, you know. Teach them how to lay their own beds, how to wash their own cups, where to put their clothes for washing, how to mop, you know. Start at a very early age, you know. You don't have to wait for a kid to be 5 years to start learning how to work. You know. That would be very hard for you and for them to actually adopt to that. So what you do, start at a very young age. There is where I went to nanny, and the kid turned 1 year old, you know, and would put the mat down and put her food on the mat. So she knew that is where she sits. And when she's done, she would stand up and go. So we had to teach her, you know, get your plate and take to the kitchen. We would point to where the kitchen is. And she learned, with time, she learned that whenever I finish eating, I have to take my plate to the kitchen, to where the sink is, or to whoever is in the kitchen. You understand? So as she grew up, she knew when I finish eating, I take my plate. So don't wait for your kids to get even to 4 or to 5. Even at 3, by the way, kids can bathe themselves. That's where I was living, and I taught a child how to bathe at the age of 3. Okay, she couldn't bathe her back. Now there I had to help. But if this child has like older siblings, they can help scrub her back. You do not have to wait for that child to get to 6, 7 years old to tell the nanny, now you go. No, if they have older siblings, they will cater for that. So teach your children early enough to do work. God has blessed me with the experience of living in homes that are well off, and those that are middle income earners, and then those that really have a low income earners. And one thing I have seen is that the kids that are raised in homes which don't earn a lot of money, the parents do not have the money, the resources to hire a nanny or even to hire a maid. So the kids learn to work at a very tender age. You find a child is 5 years old and is being sent to the shop to buy something, but she's carrying her baby sister or baby brother on the back. A child is 3 and they know how to mop. They can get a broom and sweep. you know I have seen a mother send her 2-year-old son, go to Mama Gundi and buy, like quarter kilo of sugar. And she watches the boy go to the shop, and the boy will reach there and say, sukari, sukari. And when he gives the money to the woman, of course she knows, okay, this money is just enough for quarter kilo of sugar, you know and the boy will bring the sugar back. Of course the mom will watch the boy go and listen, you know, for whatever it is that he will say that time. So kids actually can learn how to work at a very tender age if you teach them. You understand? But if you think that the kids are too young, my kid is 3, no, she cannot take the plate to the kitchen, or my kid is 5, cannot wash a cup, when will they ever learn? It's better you teach them early, and as they keep growing, they'll perfect doing that work. And at the end of the day, you realize, I don't really need a nanny. The kids can lay their own beds. They know where to put the clothes for washing. They know how to wash the cups. They know how to sweep. You get it? They know work here to organize their clothes. Then why do you need a nanny when they know how to do all those things? All you can have maybe is a maid, a working maid or a maid to just patch up a few things, especially when they've gone to school. Now, when you don't hire a nanny for a very long period of time, if let me say I plan to have one for 15 years, and now you've reduced it down to maybe like 8 years. Now, for I think it's 7 years in between. That is money that you can save. The money that you would have used to pay the nanny, you can save it and invest it in something else. You understand? More to that, you're teaching the children how to work at a very tender age. You're teaching the children how to be responsible, in other words. And that is something that is very valuable. When they learn how to be responsible at a tender age, when they grow up, they're not going to give you a hard time. You understand? So teach your children early enough to work, to be responsible, so that when they grow up, you know, they don't give you a hard time. Life will be much easier for them. And you not having a nanny for very for very many years, you will have saved on an income. You understand? So personally, I advocate for having nannies for a shorter period of time until the children are able to learn on their own to do their work. All right, thank you so much. So next time we'll talk about something else. Have a nice day. Bye bye.